Please help me welcome our wife and Saginaw story.
The story of Saginaw is a story about being misunderstood. 4 years ago, after one of my very first interviews for Riverfront Saginaw, the business owner I was talking to asked if she could tell me just one more story. A woman from Traverse City called me last week, she said, saying that she was going to stop by the shop and wanted to make sure I was open, so I told her I was. About an hour later, she called again. "I'm here," she said. She told me that she was parked in front of the store on just the other side of the sidewalk, and a little confused, I told her to come inside. "But I've heard about Saginaw," she said. And then she asked me to come out of the store, escort her across the sidewalk, to make her feel safe. A woman sitting in her car on a phone believes Saginaw to be a city so dangerous that she can't even walk on the sidewalk. Now, we know that even with our challenges, that isn't Saginaw. That isn't the truth. Like so many, whether it's due to ignorance or bias or simply believing something somebody said, she misunderstood what Saginaw is. In the same way, still so many misunderstand. But before we go pointing fingers at folks from Traverse City, what do we think Saginaw is? Is it possible that we might misunderstand something about a community we think we know so well? It's an important question to ask. After all, one of the city's taglines goes, "This is Saginaw." But what is this? What is Saginaw? Is Saginaw downtown or is it Old Town? Is it the west side? Or is it the east side? Is Saginaw black, or is it white, or is it brown? Is your Saginaw rich Saginaw, or is it poor Saginaw? Is it Saginaw's past, or is it Saginaw's future? Is it the city, or is it the township? And as long as we're asking bold questions, just to prove my point, I'm going to ask one more. And this time I'm going to ask you to be bold along with me, by raising your hand and voting for an answer. Do you think that Saginaw is Saginawsome? Or do you think Saginaw is Sagnasty? Raise your hand if you believe that Saginaw is Saginawsome. Raise your hand if you believe that Saginaw is Sagnasty. In 1989, the Detroit Pistons won their first national title with an approach to the game of basketball inspired by the city that bears its name, tough, gritty, and willing to fight against all odds and against everyone who believed they couldn't do it, to win. It was because of this style of play that they earned the nickname the Bad Boys. And just in case you need a refresher on your early 90s slang, the word bad meant very, very good. And the Bad Boys kept being bad. They won their second championship the very next year, and then again in 2004. At the same time, The Saginaw High Trojans were winning championships too, specifically in 1996, 2007, and then again in 2008. 2 cities, 2 teams, both of them winning back-to-back championships because of a strategy that is just as much about winning a basketball game as it is about winning in life. Be tough. Be gritty. And be willing to fight against all odds and against everyone who believes you can't do it to win. Leading the Trojans' 2007 championship team was Draymond Green, currently playing in the NBA for the Golden State Warriors. Annette Babers, Green's aunt, a basketball standout herself at the High and then at MSU, recalled first hearing the word "sag nasty" during a pickup game in the city. "An old guy made a great dunk," Babers said in an interview last year with the Saginaw News, and someone in the crowd yelled, "Oh, that was nasty." Hearing that, someone else said, "Only someone from Saginaw could do something like that. That was sag nasty." Babers loved it. "I love the word sag nasty," she said. "Some people, when they hear that word, they think of nasty as a bad word. But it's like when you say someone is looking sharp. That doesn't mean the person cut somebody, it just means they look good. Saying something is nasty is just another way of saying it's good." And just like cheering the Pistons on to their championships by calling them the bad boys, the word sag nasty sprouted out of a crack in the cement on a basketball court in the city into a homegrown way to support a home team that was winning, a word declaring to the world that we are doing something only people from Saginaw can do. The bad boy Pistons and the nasty Trojans. 2 teams from 2 cities, both of them tough, both of them gritty, both of them willing to fight against all odds and against everyone who believed they couldn't do it to win. But we know the rest of the story. A word birthed out of pride became a word misunderstood. Understanding became lost as it was lost in translation, and then weaponized by some to reinforce their misunderstanding about what Saginaw is. Today, the word is divisive, whether it's through ignorance or bias or simply believing something that was said. Some use the word to sum up everything they think is wrong about this community, while some use the word to sum up everything they think is right. A city misunderstood, and a word misunderstood by a city, and a word that until recently I thought I understood too. But after 4 years and thousands of stories, Saginaw changed my mind, and along the way, Saginaw changed my life. You see, in 2017, I was living and working in the city, and then I went broke. At the same time I ran out of money, I was also dealing with something else, debilitating social anxiety. If you weren't a member of my family, I was terrified of talking to you. And over the last few months, I had felt my anxiety grow worse, and it was to the point where I knew if I didn't do something about it, I'd never meet a new person, gain a new connection, or make a new friend. So I decided to try to tackle both of these challenges at the same time. Photography could be a way to make money. And to build a portfolio, I would randomly walk into businesses in Old Town, offering them 60 minutes of free photos. Because not only would I get the photos I needed for a portfolio, but those 60 minutes would give me a chance to practice the thing I was so terrified of doing: talking to strangers. It took me 6 weeks after work of driving around the city to finally get up the courage to walk into Mr. Van's shoe repair and say, "Hi, my name is Phil. I'd like to do something for you for free. How did you come up with the name of your business? What do you love about fixing shoes? What's the greatest challenge you've had to overcome? I started posting these pictures on social media, including quotes from our conversations in the captions, believing that other people might want to know these stories too. It was the birth of Storyville, and the moment Saginaw changed my life. Without Saginaw, I would never have picked up a camera. I would never have looked at it as a way to buy food. I would never have used it as a tool to overcome my anxiety. The 3,000 interviews I have done in communities across this country never would have happened, and I wouldn't be here doing this, something I love: talking to strangers. So, what is it about Saginaw that changed my life? What is it about Saginaw that has changed all of our lives? Well, after these 4 years and all of these stories, I can tell you where to look to find the answer. Look at Bert, who once was homeless, now building a home for the homeless. Look at Sandra, Michael, and Kevin, running a 162-year-old pharmacy. Look at Robert, the heavyweight champion of the world. Look at students at SCC winning medals and being the best in the nation. Look at Cynthia reading to kids, Angela helping them to be healthier, and Ramont giving them a brighter future. Look at Kevin, painting the tallest mural in the region to encourage those recovering from addiction. Look at Jack, fixing the teeth of people who couldn't afford it otherwise. Look at Linda, Bill, and Kathy filling the Saginaw Club with music. Look at Pam and Paul hiding 24,000 Easter eggs on a Sunday. Look at Joanne and 32 years of Saginaw's future. Look at Anisha and Ron losing 4 children to miscarriages, and then founding a nonprofit to help other families through the same kind of loss. Look at Tamara, who lost her daughter to violence, answering text messages from other mothers who have lost their sons and daughters too. Look at Tom and Jonathan, preserving Saginaw's history in a castle. Look at Chedrick, standing guard at the Veterans Memorial Plaza. Look at Marcus, Travell, and Marcelino, the 3 amigos starting a lawn care business. Look at Jeremiah and his sopranos, altos, tenors, and basses. Look at Fuad, who could conduct anywhere in the world, but he wants to do it here. Look at Larry leading the Civica. Look at the crew working 24 hours a day to make sure we have the best damn water in the state of Michigan. Look at Leona moving mountains with a mustard seed to do more than just give women experiencing homelessness a home, but to give them a family. Look at Ken and Farrington teaching the city how to play and how to love the game of tennis. Look at Amy, loving Saginaw so much, she got Riverfront's logo tattooed on her ankle. Look at Janelle making the best gumbo north of Louisiana. Look at Jamie organizing, connecting, and cheering us all on. Look at Bob growing up in a gang into a man keeping kids out of gangs and into the editor of the Saginaw News. Look at Glenn figuring out new ways to get people where they need to go. Look at Mark and Andrea running such an incredible funeral home that I already know where I want my body to go when I die. Look at David and Meg bringing us the news. Look at Beth starting out as a nurse at Covenant 35 years ago to being the CEO of Covenant today. Look at Rushdie writing his raps in the basement to winning a Grammy and working with Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj. Look at Jimmy Green handing out hundreds of Happy Meal gift cards to kids during a pandemic just to make them happy. Look at Shatora and Nehemiah making sure that every kind of kid feels loved. Look at Elisa using yoga to help people through trauma. Look at these kids having the time of their life during Jazz on Jefferson. Look at Craig, the spirit of Saginaw himself. Look at 300 people meeting every Monday just to ride their bikes together. Look at President Biden eating French toast at Fuzzy's. Look at Yoko bringing Japan to us so we don't have to go to Japan. Look at Thor bringing the world to us right here in our downtown. Look at Dante leaving his job at SpaceX and Tesla to move back to Saginaw to teach our kids how to build their own rockets. Look at Alex, loving old buildings more than anyone's ever loved anything. Look at Linda and Lisa, building a longer table instead of a higher fence. Look at Sal, baby. Look at Lonnie handing out bowls of warm soup after holidays in the heart of the city. Look at Brian Keenan Leckel, our very own Grizzly Adams, giving me a fist bump. Look at Chucky getting 1,000 people together for a kickball game at Hoyt Park just to show the haters that Saginaw isn't what they think it is. Look at Diane and her team serving almost 1,000 meals in 60 minutes every single day to people that need it. Look at John and Devon and Kayla painting a 60-foot tall mural reminding us to love our mothers. Look at Kevin build his own museum. Look at Brian showing us the power of a dad. Look at Brenda going from kicking down doors in her boots as a bounty hunter to the mayor of Saginaw. And look at Jeannie and her 28 years of serving pride in Saginaw with pride. Look at all these people. Look at all of you. And so many more who are caring, striving, working, and fighting for this place while showing us that the answer to what is Saginaw is an answer we can only find in each other. We are Saginaw. Saginaw is a city defined by people caring and loving and working and striving and fighting for this place, a place of community and culture, of purpose and pride, of goodness and grit, a place of selfless stubbornness and resolve, a place that cares enough to fight over itself. The story of Saginaw is a story about being misunderstood. But lucky for us, that isn't the only story it has to tell. Take this place and melt it down in a giant cauldron of molten and malleable iron. And after all the impurities have been burned away, we are left with one more word that defines this city. Pride. Pride is the product of hard work and what keeps us working hard. Pride is love supported by proof. Pride is the relentless belief that we can do impossible things. Pride is knowing that we've gone through it before so we can go through it again. Pride is knowing and then achieving our potential. So as we celebrate this past year of Pride and look forward to the next, let's always keep in mind that it is our people that make Saginaw, Saginaw. Let's keep in mind that the only way to understand what this place is by understanding each other. Let's work hard together, have fun together, meet our challenges together, listen and tell stories together, and let's do things that only people from Saginaw can do. Let's be tough. Let's be gritty. Let's be awesome and a little bit nasty. And be willing to fight against all odds and everyone who believes we can't do it to win. Thank you. Thank you.